Our speaker this evening is John Blakeman of Meadow Environments LLC. He's a retired science teacher, and he has quite a resume. And if I spend time going over it, we wouldn't have time to, or we'd have to allow shorten his time for the presentation. But he has all of his contact information up there too, if you have any questions, but I'll just let John get started on his topic.
You'll have to reshare, John.
Okay, let me try that. It's cannot share while another participant is sharing.
Or I'll stop.
Oh, okay, yeah, I just had it just for a second. There we are. Okay, I'm watching the time. It's 7:09 on my watch right here. I talk for a long time. Somebody's just going to turn me off. The time is appropriate. I'm going to overwhelm you with information, pick and choose whatever works. Oftentimes in presentations like this, I say, if I don't offend you, you're just not listening close enough. And that's because I have, shall we say, peculiar, if not particular, perspectives on what we're doing, and you may not share them, and that's understood. There is no one way to do native plants landscaping. For me, there is, but I'm just one person. There's lots of them. So let me let's get started here. Let's see if I can click on this and see what happens. Oh. There we go. Okay, first of all, you need some examples to see what it looks like to show what I'm talking about. I used to live on 5 acres in the Huron Township and Milan Township south of Huron. That was my backyard. And every single plant there except the Eurasian lawn grass, I planted. Those are all oak trees and so forth. Now, it took 25 years to do that. It used to be just a big soybean field. And that's what it looked like out of my bedroom window when I looked out. This would be in October when the switchgrass and Indian grass and the prairie are just beautiful. And so this is the kind of thing that we can, that I did. Let's see, anything else? If you go to Huron, there's Bowling Green State University campus there, Firelands campus. There's the campus. For many years, it was called pejoratively, but rather accurately, a campus in a cornfield. That's what it was. BGSU owned over 100 acres of land there. The campus was on about 20 acres, and the rest of it was cornfield. I contacted the dean at the time, James McBride, a friend of mine, and he and I together said we need to put an arboretum around the campus. Arboretum means place of trees. So we started doing that. But my thing is not trees. I love them. My thing is especially native prairies. So I planted this beautiful tall grass prairie here. There's a bunch of them all over. I'm very pleased to say about 5 years ago, an accrediting official came to the campus to accredit the campus. He walked a lot to the back and says, "What is all of that out there?" And I said, "Oh, that's Blakeman's prairies. Look at that." And he said that this small campus has one of the most beautiful campuses of any two-year college in the Midwest. It's all flat ground, and it used to be corn and soybean fields. It's now gorgeous because we have native plants landscaping across the landscape, including lots of trees. There's a big pond and so forth. This is a model that should be done. Now, from what I could tell, when we first started talking, you people understandably are focused on your lawns, on your residences. That's where you start. But as the wild ones, you are experts. You can say things to city councilmen and to officials that weighs more than just somebody else. What I'm saying is, yes, we should all be promoting native plants landscaping in urban and municipal green spaces, such as on school grounds, on campuses, and so forth. Should be done. It'll be just absolutely gorgeous. I live right outside of Sandusky. Sandusky, of course, is most famous for Cedar Point, understandably. But it's sitting right on Sandusky Bay. And the city of Sandusky, until about 5 years ago, would have nothing to do with the waterfront. They thought it was scummy water. They didn't like it. Then a bunch of outside people says, you have a bayfront. You should take advantage of it. And I'm helping them do this. Here's what it looks like now. That's on Shoreline Park in downtown Sandusky. And you see all of my grasses there. 10 years ago, that was a rough area of boulders with broken beer cans and broken glass bottles in there. It was ugly. And I said to the city, you gotta plant switchgrass along there. And they said, oh, no, well, we can't, everything like that. Took about 5 years. We did. Now it's just stunningly gorgeous. Now, I'm announcing this a little prematurely because it's not done yet, but I'm sure hoping it's going to happen. Cedar Point, if you've gone to it in Sandusky, you travel on a half-mile causeway out to Cedar Point from Sandusky. Cedar Point is now going to build a new causeway. It's 4 lanes, and the 5th lane is a bikeway and a walkway, so you can walk from downtown Sandusky out to the gigantic, wonderful beach at Cedar Point. I'm going to be talking to Cedar Fair Limited and say, along that walkway, what do you suppose you should be planting? Yes, island after island of native beach grasses and prairie grasses. It will be absolutely stunning for everybody involved. They don't think about it because they're design engineers. Nobody much thinks about native plants. Native plants to them is weeds. We can't have them. Now we got to use the right ones in the right way, and that's what this progress is. Here is my masterpiece, a 22-acre residence site called Riverbend. It's on the bend of the Sandusky River, the Alexander residence over in Fremont. There's an aerial view of it. The river, the Sandusky River, is in the way upper left-hand corner. When I was called in 1999, Dr. Alexander, a veterinarian, says, John, we just bought these 22 acres. I don't want to mow 22 acres. Somebody said we should contact you and you can help us. I said, well, I hope I can. Well, it took 10 years, but there it is. Look at those islands of beautiful prairie grasses, the forests on the right hand, the bottom hand side, we planted all. By the way, look at the shape of the driveway. It's S-shaped. Catch this. I got there one day to see it, and the driveway had been marked out by the builder. He had a 700-foot straight line from the road to the house. I said, stop, stop, stop. Why? It just looks ugly. Nature doesn't have 700-foot straight lines. So I designed that S-shape called sigmoid S-shaped driveway. Look at the bottom right at about 8 o'clock in the morning. There's an entranceway. It goes through an alley of oaks, comes out. It's just a phenomenal experience. And it's just gorgeous. It's all of native plants. These are the kinds of things that we can be doing. Okay, now here's some design considerations. Now, I'm not offending you. You're doing most of your design on your small urban lot, and you've done it well, and maybe there's some other things you can do. But what I really like to have Wildlands do and Audubon societies do, we need to put native plants landscaping on all school grounds. There should be plots of prairie, there should be small wetlands, there should be oak groves and so forth. But how should they look? Here's the deal. Nature has no what? There are no straight lines in nature. None. If you see straight lines in nature, somebody made that up. Don't have it. What else does nature have? Not have. It has no spot point corners. What's a spot point corner? Well, there's one of them, 1, 2 right there. Nothing in nature has spot point corners. Number 3, what do we have? Nature doesn't have circles. Yes, there are seeds and small things, but on landscapes, there aren't circles. Nature doesn't have rectangles in big things. And it certainly doesn't have squares. and it doesn't have triangles. But all three, 4, 5, and 6, that's what everybody designs. Now, don't get me wrong, from designing a house, you're gonna have all of that. Your house is not a native plants landscape. When we do native plant landscaping, we can do the right thing. What does nature have? Curved edges and rounded corners. That's what nature has. And you incorporate those. Strive to have plantings with plots with curved edges and rounded corners. Everybody wants to have a straight line and a spot point square corner. They want to do a rectangular square. Now, don't get me wrong. If you have a rectangular or square garden, don't change it. That's appropriate. Gardens are that way. There's nothing wrong with them. But when you do your second garden, try to make it more natural. The gardens, like I say, they're wonderful, but they're not natural. They can have natural plants, and I hope yours does, probably does, wonderful. Now look at my design there at the Riverbend property there. You see many straight lines there? No. Imagine walking your dog or just taking a hike through those lanes right there at 3 o'clock. You can walk around here all day long, never go the same place until you come back a week later. A variety of scenes, a variety of walkways, pathways especially. And that's another thing we need to do. We need to get people in native plants landscapes, not just looking at them. So create islands, 2 or 3 or 4 of them, with walkways, curved walkways that invite them. Right here, if I'm a 10-year-old little boy right there, and mom says, okay, go play, what do? I see that curved line right there, and I see that curved line right there. I do an eye walk. In landscape architecture, this line right there is called a scene. A scene is a line formed by 2 different landscape elements. Here's the prairie, there's the path. And notice, this is slightly widened here. It's a trumpet entrance. Well, here's the big trumpet entrance right here. I'm walking along here. I said, whoa, I'm going to just follow that and walk right down here, right through here, and so forth. So it's called an eye walk. Your eye first walks where it sees these scenes. You design it so the eye looks at it. You're invited to come in and see it. And if I say so, it's wonderful. Again, gardens are okay, but they're not natural. There's the garden I would plant. And my neighbor would say, are you crazy, John? Then you look over and say, yeah, we know that guy. He can't make a square corner. He can't even walk properly. Okay, that's fine. But you see there how those are 4 different curved islands of prairie or garden or anything of the kind. There could be any number of those. Those are ones that I just drew up. Your eye likes to walk, your eye goes in, it comes out, and goes around. You're enticed to walk around and see these. Right there, if that was your garden, what would you put right there? Right in there, surrounding by that would be a beautiful reading bench. Someplace you could sit right there. Now, of course, when I was doing it, I would make the bench face in so I can see the monarch butterflies and the bees in there. Other people want to put it out so you can look out over the lawn. As you will. Long curved edges, wide, rounded corners. Now, how are you going to design that? Way back in 1962, I took shop class, and I had to take a drafting class. That's what little boys had to take. And I got pretty good using a T-square and straight edges, and I could do those things. And to make rounded corners, you had to use a thing called a French curve. I thought those were really neat. I won't tell you why, but you can imagine why. They had wonderful curves that emulate things that little boys look at. So how are you going to do it? I suggest just go to your spot in your yard or go to the school ground that you're working on and design the thing right there in the field. Get yourself either some long lengths of no more of small rope or garden hose, or at the hardware store, you can buy 100 little garden flags for 5 cents a piece. And you just stick those things in the ground. Imagine, look at it, and imagine what you want, stick it in the ground, lay your garden hose around. You can use rocks, anything you want, put it in there and design it. And the best designs are the 31st or 37th varieties. You design it, then you continually change it. What I really like to do, and I do mine on a computer, I designed one, I said, wow, that thing really looks good. Now I'm really excited. Then I save it, turn my computer off, go off and do something and don't look at it for another 3 days. Turn it back on. I said, whoa, how did I put that there? You got to keep trying it. You imagine it and you practice it in your mind. Now, when you get a proposed plot marked out in your yard or in the grass, walk around and see how it looks from all angles, especially from inside the windows. Yeah, we like to say we're planting these things for the pollinating insects, the bees, and the monarch butterflies. And those creatures are not attracted to shapes. They're attracted to colors and fragrances. They'll find your spot, they'll find your plants no matter what. People are different. How do they see them? What you really want to know, you really want to do is design this for people. First for yourself and everybody else. Here we go. Make change after change after change to get a final design. Now, please consider all viewpoints. What do you mean? Here we go. Determine what everyone or anyone gets to see. What do you mean? Well, the first person to consider is you inside your house. Why do you have windows in your house? It's not just to let light in, it's allow you to stand there and look out over your landscape. So what is your new plot going to look like from the house, inside the house? What's it look like from the kitchen window? What does it look like from an upstairs bedroom window? Plant the thing or mark it out and go look at it. Say, well, that's a little too narrow, I can't see it. Well, change it, fix it. Plan, plan, plan. Okay, most of you have a sidewalk out in front of your house and lots of people walk by. Now, if your plot is in the backyard, most people won't see much, but I'd really like for you to have some native plants out in the front yard so people walking by can see it. I get these wonderful phone calls, and I just got one yesterday while I was working this up. I got so excited. Hi, Mr. Blakeman. Yes, can I help you? I'm buying 29 acres out in the countryside. Somebody said we should contact you to help me design it because I want this to be a natural created park. I said, oh my goodness, you certainly do need me. Excuse me. So yes, we're going to do that. And all of these things here are going to work. And the very first question I always ask, well, the other people said, we just bought 5 acres in the countryside. Good. We're going to build a house, but we're going to let the back 5 acres. Are you ready for this one? It never happens. Well, it does, but badly. We're going to let the back 4 acres revert to nature. Ooh, no, no, no. Nature does not revert. It degrades. Why? Because we got plants here from other places that don't belong here. Things like lawn grass, Canada thistle, and all the weeds. So if you just let your 5 acres grow up, it will be an ugly, ugly weed patch. You have to play God and intervene. And so that's what you should do. What else? So what will people, pedestrians, see when they walk by? I hope it'll be a nice, delightful area. The first question I ask is, what is the speed limit? Because most people seeing your house drive by, whether it's 25 miles an hour in a neighborhood in Cleveland or 40 miles an hour out in the township somewhere. Most people are, when we know the speed limit, we know how many seconds they have to see your lawn. And so that our design needs to take that into consideration. But lastly, what mostly is seen when standing in your yard, what do you see as you walk around? You take your dog for a walk, or you go out and sit in the yard, what do you see? All of those things you have to consider. And you just do it by trying it time after time after time after time, and you'll start to see. All right, here's another concept that I just keep trying to drill into people time and time again. How am I doing tonight? Looks like we're getting a little late here. Sherry, you're muted.
I would say you talked to me about the three T's. Maybe quickly go over that, and then we can take a few questions.
And we'll do it. Here we go. Conventional green spaces are 3 T's landscapes. The first T is what? Earth. Large expanses of mown lawn. That's what everybody expects. Number 2, the second T. R, which means paved surfaces. Gotta have those. And the last one, we gotta have them, we should have them. And that's the third one is trees. Those are all appropriate. But they aren't natural, and they don't have native plants so often. So they're very nice, but we need to transform or transcend 3T's landscapes by the kinds of plantings you people are doing. This will be the last slide I give right here. There is a classic 3T's landscape. It's actually 2 trees. There's not even any tar there. Isn't that beautiful? It is. It's really natural, isn't it? No, it isn't. Those trees, those pine trees, actually spruce trees, come from Colorado. Are we in Colorado? No. Should they be planted here? In appropriate places, but not in native landscapes. So that's where we'll pick it up the next time. If ever there will be an next, I'll go from here. How to transform 3T's landscapes into natural landscapes. They're just stunningly gorgeous. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. That was great. So do we have questions?
I know we had one question that someone asked at the beginning and asked, John, is there an Ohio Prairie Conference this year?
I saw that, and that was my Keith Bradley. So far, we don't have it, and we haven't got a site announced yet for it. It's supposed to be in the first week in August, but if anybody in Ohio wants to host a weekend or a Saturday Ohio Prairie Conference, we'd love to do it. We're looking ideally out in the southwestern Ohio, Dayton, Cincinnati area. We haven't had one of those for many years, but each year we have prairie conferences, and people come from all over Ohio to learn about prairies. That's a good question. Thank you.
Does
I have a
anybody else?
question.
Go ahead, Diane.
So if you have a yard that's very square, and I understand you talked about,
Yes,
you want to have circles, but you have like a fence,
Yes.
say in the back.
yes.
Is it best to just, like put your plants all the way against the fence, but then have, kind of meandering lines of
You can-
your beds?
You can do that if you have a long fence. What you can really do in a corner, plant a kind of a C-shaped corner patch. So there's a rounded corner on that side right there. Your eye follows the fence line as a straight line, but when it gets to the corner, your eye follows the seam between the plot and the ground, and it takes you around. In other words, you add some curves, you impose the curves of your plantings on that rectilinear square site, and that works very, very well. It's actually what you have to do. Nobody lives on a curved site. You've got square corners and straight lines. Good question. Thank you.
Could I just follow that up? So when you
Sure.
say C, could you, I can't quite visualize, I mean, I know what a C looks like, but not as it
Okay.
relates to
Now,
a
let
corner.
me imagine that this is, here's the back of your yard right there and so forth.
Okay,
Right in this corner here, you would have, oh, I can draw something. Oh, there we go. I didn't know that. Oh, yeah. Oh, now there we
oh,
go.
look at that.
I didn't know I could do that. You see that? Here's a rounded curve right here. Here's the straight line right across there.
Yeah,
And so our eye is going to follow this. Our eye is going to follow a line like that. You see what I'm saying?
oh, okay,
We've
okay.
imposed that line on there by making this supposedly a C-shaped plot. And
Mhm.
that's where you can really play with a lot by just putting things in your yard, making lines, and seeing how it works. Good question. Thank you.
I have another question about corners.
Sure.
I noticed a lot of people, and to me, it looks awful. And sorry if anybody on the call has this, but so please don't be offended. But like they only plant things in their corners in the front yard. So there's a little triangle over here, there's a little triangle over here, and then there's like nothing in the middle, So like, what do you,
And
what's
that's because everybody believes an open green sward like we have right here is the only thing you could have. But no, you could plant a plot right there, and there could be another one right here. Now here's the here could be the sidewalk going to the house. But yes, you can straddle them with an opening or not. There's nothing that says you can't. Play with it for sure. That just makes, when there are lots of elements in your landscape of various shades, sizes, and shapes, it does not look cluttered. It looks interesting. That's what you can do.
Thank you very much.
Good question.
So,
Thank you.
John, I have a question. I get the impression that you do a lot of landscape with seeding
Yes.
rather than planting
Uh,
individual plants and plugs, and so you're more of a broadscaping kind of person.
I am, but yeah.
And I'm thinking, what are some of the management issues that go along with seeding?
Yes. That was towards the end of this program, but I'll tell you right now, that's exactly right. Because I'm a prairie guy, I like to lay down seeds and have large monocultures or small numbers of species, the large masses of these open meadow-like environments. What do you have to do? Now, don't get wrong. I have the strangest job in all of NASA. I am NASA's only paid pyromaniac at Armstrong Test Facility here in Erie County. I set hundreds of acres of prairie on fire every March and April. You're not going to do that. Nobody should. But in this case, what you do, you just get your lawnmower out and you drive your lawnmower slowly right over top that switchgrass. Your lawnmower chops it all up, drops it as mulch, and that's as good as a fire, and you have to manage it. You got to manage your garden too, got to pull the weeds out and so forth. So you have to attend to these things. You can't just let them go because eventually weeds come in and so forth. But that's what we do. We just mow them down. The most gotta use your lawnmower. Works out. Good question, Ray.
Well, I think, thank you again for putting up your contact information, John. I'll certainly be reaching out to you because you're pretty close to me out here in Erie County. I appreciate your presentation and thank you.
My welcome. Love to help anytime. Feel free to contact me. My services are pro bono. Just love to share the information. So
Thank you. This is interesting.
Yeah,
Very
thank you,
interesting.
John.
Thank you.
Thank you,
We'll
John.
definitely be calling you back.
I hope so.
Yes,
If you don't mind, then I'll leave the meeting. Thank you.
okay.
Thank you, John.